the first question I want to ask you is, you fought MMA and BKFC. What do you find the main difference between the two in stand-up fighting besides the kicks would be?
I feel like bare knuckle is a little bit more real. Once you get hit without gloves, you start questioning everything. There's not that much room for error. When I
Yeah.
go and I'm sparring MMA, even in a fight, I don't feel the punches. I try to be careful because I know you can get knocked out, and you don't want to
Yes.
lose, but I really don't feel them at all. Maybe the next day, if I got hit hard enough, I might have a black eye, but in the moment, I don't feel it. During a fight in bare knuckle, the moment you get hit, you know you got hit. So I would say that's the main difference.
Okay, so yeah, and then the kicks would on knees obviously would be a different. Is it a different? How much is the preparation different though? Because really, I was seeing where I think Chris Lytle was talking about different types of punches and how you have to block differently because there's no gloves there to block. Does that affect your way of transitioning to a sport? Like if you were want to do an MMA fight to a UFC fight, or sorry, not like MMA to no, bare knuckle. I'm sorry, my apologies there. Is your preparation a lot different?
If I am training for bare knuckle, the preparation is actually really, really easy, really
Okay.
simple to train because I can do an hour or two of boxing training, and we focus
Hmm.
more on head movement now that we do on blocking because you can't block that well, and also blocking with your elbows. I've been doing that in boxing too. When I go spar boxing, I just block with my elbows. The moment they hit that elbow, even with the
Hmm.
glove, they don't want to throw as much power anymore. So that makes it a lot easier to fight if you're in a fight. But when I'm training for MMA, I feel like it requires a lot more of myself physically. But
Yeah.
now when I go spar MMA, because I don't care if I get hit, my opponents can't faint because most of the time I don't even move. I'm like, yeah, throw it. You're gonna throw a punch, throw it. I'm not moving. I don't care. So I'm able to wait. Training for bare knuckle made me so much better when I go spar now in MMA because sometimes I hear my opponents or my partners telling their coach the feint is not working. I'm like, it's not that it's not working. It's that I don't give a shit. I
Exactly.
don't
That's
care if
fair.
you land that punch anymore. So it allows me to wait until the last minute. So once I recognize the movement in the shoulder, I don't move when I see that. I move later on. Like I wait that extra half second. And it makes me so that I don't overreact to movement. So when my training partners are doing a lot of movement, a lot of feinting, it doesn't really
Yeah.
affect me because I'm not concerned if I get hit. And I can block in MMA as opposed to bare knuckle when it's really hard to block the shots.
Yeah, that was my main question. Is like, how is the block? I could have made that into a shorter question, but the blocking just seems a lot harder for sure in bare knuckle. Your last fight was MMA though, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and that went your way. Are you looking for an MMA fight, or are you looking to get back to the bare knuckle next?
I am looking for an MMA. I mean, I have been looking for an MMA fight since my last fight. So it's being a little bit more complicated now to get
Yeah.
fights, because the UFC is pretty much needs bodies. So what all the other high level athletes are doing is that they are avoiding taking any risk so they can preserve their record so they can go in the UFC. But that's leaving me with very few options as far as opponent. I have people agree to fight and then they change their mind. I have managers who straight up tell me you're just not the right fight right now for my athlete, which means they want to make sure she wins so she can go to the UFC. And I only need
Yeah.
one or two more wins, but I can't win unless I fight. So I'm definitely looking for an MMA fight. I love bare knuckle. I think that will be my home when I retire. And
Yeah.
the reason for that is that you don't require that much athleticism. There's not that much wrestling. That's where you get hurt. Jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
class, grappling classes.
Yeah.
However, I could commit to bare knuckle right now, and people are like, "But why don't you just fight this person and that person in
For
bare
sure.
knuckle?" I'm like, "Listen, the highest paid bare knuckle fighters are UFC vets. If I
Yeah.
decide to do anything with my career when I move on, open a gym, do seminars, anything, if I came already from the UFC, that's going to raise my stock. So, of course, I'm
Yeah.
concentrating on MMA right now because it makes sense in the long run.
For sure, just to kind of get your name out there. You're right, because they got people like Chris Lieben who are probably making a lot more than the undercard fighters.
Of course, every UFC vet is going to make more money in any other sport they go to just because they had that exposure. If I decide to open a gym, it sounds a lot better if I was already in the UFC than if I wasn't. It doesn't matter how good of a fighter you are. You might
Hmm.
make it to the UFC and get smashed 3 fights in a row and then get kicked out. But the
Yeah.
fact that you can add UFC vet to your resume makes a huge difference when it comes to other opportunities inside and even outside of combat sport. If I wanted to commentate because
Yeah.
I love fighting, they're gonna pick the UFC vet over me anytime. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to solidify myself in MMA, and I feel like making it to the UFC it will make increase my stack inside and outside of the cage. If I want to do seminars, it sounds a lot better saying UFC fighter Helen Peralta is having a seminar next weekend, just because people recognize the brand a lot more. Trust me, bare knuckles way tougher. I have a lot more respect for people that can go in there without glove. However,
Yeah,
because it's a new sport, it doesn't have that much exposure yet in people's mind. When people hear UFC, they're thinking pinnacle of MMA
yeah.
every time.
For sure, yeah, you got to get your name out there. That's definitely the smart way. Or even Bellator maybe would be. Do you think similar if you got a call from them or PFL?
Oh, if I got a call for them, I'll take it. Right now, I'm pretty much waiting for a call from anybody. You know, I keep
Yeah.
harassing people. I don't harass fighters because I think that's kind of rude. I just tell the promoters, I can beat your champion. You know, I just say it to see what they can do. Put me
Now
in a
that being
car.
said, if you were offered a fight against, so you were you're I think you're 2-0 right now in BKFC, right?
Correct.
So if you were offered a fight against Paige Van Zandt or Britain Hart even now, since she won that fight, would you take something like that?
If it's not a long wait, yes. So if the fight was within the next 4 weeks, I'll take it. Because right now, what I don't want to do is have to have a fight scheduled for 3 months and then having to cancel any possible MMA fights in between. Because before I can get to the UFC, I need to get fights. So if I schedule a bare knuckle fight for 3 months from now, I won't be able to sign any other contract with MMA. They're not gonna do it, because I will be in the other fight and then I will be missing opportunities. However, if the fight was last next weekend, yeah, I'll take it. Two
Oh,
weeks
for
from
sure.
now, I'll take it. 3 weeks from now, I'll take it. 4 weeks from now, I'll take it. But I don't want to plan for the future because I
Hmm.
don't like leaving people hanging. I don't like disappointing people. I don't want to say yes and then having to say no. So if it's in a short run, yeah. And my goal is MMA and is UFC. But for
Yeah,
example, I'm willing to put my dreams on hold if I am motivated enough. So
exactly.
if the promoter motivates me in a way that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this now because I am pretty broke. I will put my dreams on hold because it's worth it. I'm not gonna put my dreams on hold for a couple $1,000s because it's not viable because I'm already 32 years old. But
Yeah,
if I am gonna put my dreams on hold, I need some sort of motivation, and I could do that for 6 months, a year, maybe one or two bare knuckle fights. I'm definitely willing to do that for the right pay. However, because I'm not a UFC vet,
yeah.
they don't see the value in doing that.
So that is your main goal is to get that name in the future. Maybe BKFC will be better for you.
Oh yeah, BKFC matches better with my style. I
Yeah,
like to brawl. I like to
that's
throw
what I was
hands.
thinking.
Oh, that's my thing. And not only that, I still train bare knuckles, and I don't wear hand grabs. I haven't wear hand grabs since my first bare knuckle fight.
Hmm.
And most of the time, I hit the back without gloves, unless if I scrape my knuckles, then I have to stop doing that so it doesn't
For
get
sure.
worse. Blah blah blah. But that's how I train, and I love it. In MMA, I can't just throw punches like that because people are just gonna change
Yeah,
level and put me on my back. So definitely bare
yeah.
knuckle is what I see myself in the future for sure.
For sure, I definitely see. I just see you having such a great career in BKFC. That's why was so curious about it. Um, so you're currently at 115. Is I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is that the weight class you want to stay at, or would you ever want to go up?
I'm gonna say at 115 because especially for MMA, I have sparred with girls at 125 and I've done very well, but I have noticed the difference in my power. Like I never
Yeah,
punch them hard because it's training, so I have to grapple them because I can't just
yeah,
hit someone with MMA gloves. So when I grapple, I feel that weight. I feel when they make me carry their weight. And for bare knuckle, I could do 115, 120, and 125 because they're not putting the weight on top of me. And even though I'm fighting at 125, which is a higher weight class,
yeah.
the power I have in my hands is an equalizer. So we're pretty much kind of the same level. When I go up to 125, we're at the same level power wise. When I go down to 115, I'm the most powerful person in the ring.
I definitely, I think this is a compliment. I see your style as like a Jessica Entourage, where you just at the 115 you can just destroy people.
Yeah, I like to be able to do that, and that's why I'm going to say that I got to stay humble. However, the 115-pound division in the UFC, that's a murderer's road. There
I
are
know it's
no
crazy
easy
there.
fights at 115, and it's so deep. If I went to the UFC at 145, I'm 2 fights away from a title shot.
Yeah,
Literally 2 fights away from a title shot. If I go into the UFC at 115, I will have to really improve within the next year to even get a title shot,
that is
if
true.
ever. It's a very tough weight class. 125 is a little bit easier than 115 for sure. And if I was able to, put the weight and keep it, that would be one thing. But I'm trying to stay kind of lean
Yeah.
through even when I'm not fighting, just that I can maintain in that weight class where I do have an upper hand because I started training 5 years ago
Yeah.
altogether with no background. So this girls already have the advantage technique wise. I don't know more, I'm still learning some of the basics. So I
Yeah.
don't want to give them any more advantages by going up another weight class. So I'm going to stay at 115.
For sure. I got two more questions for you. What made you want to get into MMA?
A friend of mine showed me the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm fight. And
Oh,
when he was
perfect.
telling me Ronda Rousey got knocked out, I had no idea who she was.
Oh,
And he
wow.
couldn't believe it. Yeah, he couldn't believe it. He said, "How do you not know who she is?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't follow this stuff." So he showed me the fight, and I didn't know which one was Ronda. He forgot to tell me which one she was. And I saw this girl go for a shot, Ronda, and then she turns around the camera. I almost felt like slow motion for me, and I saw it in her face. I'm like, she's gonna lose tonight. And well, that was an old fight already. It's
Yeah.
already been a couple of weeks. But when I saw, I'm like, she's gonna lose. And then I saw her circling to Holly's towards the kick, and I was like, she had already thrown it. And I'm like, she doesn't move the other way, she might get kicked. And then boom, it happened simultaneously. And I had never watched the fight before, so I looked
Wow.
at this, and I was really drunk, and I said, I can do that. I can be better than them, which was over my head for sure. But then that stayed with me. The next day when I woke up, I remember that fight, and I was like, and then I went back and I watched some around those walkouts and the weigh-ins and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can do that. Like that fits my personality. That would be something I want to do. And then I started training right away.
Wow. So Ronda definitely at least she seems to have an effect somehow on a lot of women fighting these days.
Of course, and why not? She was the first woman in the UFC.
Exactly.
Like he's the reason why then why was like, all right, we're gonna let women
Yeah.
come in because he has said you would never see women in the UFC. She changed
Yeah.
that. So you gotta give respect to her for what she did. And a lot of people
For
like to
sure.
undermine people. When you're down, people just want to kick you, no matter what you accomplish.
Oh, for sure.
You can be undefeated. You defeat the baddest guy today, and you retire tomorrow, and they're gonna see you retire because you are afraid of some other guy. They're
Yeah.
always gonna have a reason to talk. She didn't handle her losses well, but you can't blame her because they put it up there, and she never experienced defeat, and
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing to know how to handle. A true champion is someone who can handle defeat and come back, and say, you know what, I made some mistake. Don't blame your coaches. Don't blame everybody else but yourself because then you can't fix it. When you blame other people for your mistakes, you take the power away from yourself to fix it. If you blame yourself, you can work on yourself.
For
She didn't
sure.
do
For
that.
sure. Hate her or love her, you got to respect her, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And my last question is, what is for dinner? I know you're a cook.
Well, for dinner, I have some meal prep. I love eating quinoa because I can add a lot of vegetables
Yeah.
to it. So I made a quinoa stir fried, so I like to cook the vegetable really slow and get it nice and caramelized. And then I mix it with the quinoa. This one is flavored with ginger, garlic, coconut amino. It's kind of like an alternative for soy sauce, some sesame seed oil, and some beef stock, and it's delicious. So I'm gonna have that for dinner.
So you're a chef at heart? Is that your go-to?
Well, I used to be a professional chef.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I teach culinary arts at a community college for 6 years. So that was my main career before MMA. So yeah, I do a little chefing at home too.
Perfect. Did you want to give a shout out to anyone or sponsorships before I let you go?
Oh yeah, I would like to shout out to everyone that follows my career and everyone that sends me good energy whenever I'm getting ready for a fight or when my fights get canceled. The people that message me and say, I'm sorry. Just everyone that sends
The
that positive
supporters.
energy. Yeah, because it feels so good to know so many people care. Sometimes I get into my own head. I'm just training
For
and
sure.
napping, and I don't even realize what's real. I think, oh, nothing matters, and then people start messaging me, and I realize that it does matter.
Absolutely. It brings your energy up. I really appreciate everything today. Oh, did I get you?
Oh, there we go.
We're good.
Yeah, my phone was dying.
I really appreciate your time today, and I hope maybe we could talk again in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for
Th-
having me.
Thank you.